So next we are going to study the pathophysiology of emphysema. So whatever causes and risk factor we have read for the emphysema condition, like if the person is doing a smoking or he is exposed to air pollution, dust particles, or the person is having alpha-1 anti-deficiency. So all these factors will lead to the emphysema disease condition. Here I am taking the most common cause for the emphysema, that is smoking. So if some person is doing smoking for long period of time, he is a chronic smoker or heavy smoker, then what will happen? Due to the smoking air, okay, due to the smoking condition, the dust particle and the nicotine which is present in the smoke will come into our respiratory tract, okay, and this smoke or nicotine or dust particle will do the inflammation and irritation in the airway, okay, in the epithelium wall of our airway. So due to the inflammation and irritation, okay, so these particles are the antigen particle or foreign particle which are entering into our body. So due to the irritation, inflammation, our immune cell will trigger out, okay. Now some lymphocytes, some TLC, some WBCs, mainly the neutrophils and macrophages will infiltrate into that area. So when neutrophils and macrophages will attack or infiltrate into that area, then these cells or these things will release protease enzyme, okay. So due to the infiltration of our immune cells, there will be release of protease enzyme, and this proteases do the destruction of elastin protein, okay. So which protein? Elastin. So this protease will do the destruction of elastin protein which is present into our alveolar wall, into our alveolar duct as well as into our respiratory bronchiole. So we all know the diagram of sinus. So here the black one is known as terminal bronchiole and the green part represent the respiratory bronchiole and the blue one is known as the alveolar duct, and finally through the alveolar duct our alveoli are attached. And this elastin protein is very important and required for providing the elasticity and recoiling power to the alveoli. So this elastin and some collagen fibers also remain present in the alveolar wall. Now the release of proteases will do the destruction and more inflammation and devastating effect in the alveolar wall. So by the neutrophil an enzyme is released that is known as proteases enzyme, okay, and this proteases enzyme will do the destruction and destroy all the elastic tissue which is present in the alveoli. Next we have macrophages. So the work of macrophage is to engulf any foreign particle, but here the macrophages in the infiltration process release an enzyme that is known as metalloproteinases, and this metalloproteinases will do the destruction and devastating effect in the connective tissue. So due to the destruction and devastating in the connective tissue and the elastic fiber as well as in the collagen fiber, so the wall of alveoli will get destructed, okay, the wall of alveoli will get break down. Now this alveoli have lost all his elastic power and recoiling power, and they will come in the condition of irreversible enlargement. When this elastin protein is destroyed and break down from the alveoli, then this whole alveoli, all the alveoli will comes together and fuse together. Not only this alveoli, as well as this alveolar duct, respiratory bronchiole also will collapse together, okay, they will form a bunch together known as bullae, okay. So bullae are the large air space which is present in our lungs due to the collapse or get together of alveoli, okay. So this alveoli will form a large air trapping space into our lungs. Now there will be airway obstruction. Why there will be airway obstruction? Because the alveolar duct and small bronchioles will also collapse together and the gases which is passing through the respiratory tract will not able to flow in a proper way, and there will be airway obstruction also happen in the respiratory tract, and which will reduce the lung surface area. Okay, now this bullae will form a air trapping space inside our lungs, and due to all this condition, the alveoli will not able to exchange the gases properly. Okay, the oxygen will not be supplied into our blood, and CO2 will not able to come into the alveoli, and patient will feel a decline of oxygen. There will be hypoxemia condition which is felt by the patient. Hypoxemia means when there is low level of oxygen in the blood. That is known as emphysema condition. Now here what is happening due to the smoking or dust particle. Okay, so smoke particle have an oxidant in it. Okay, now this oxidant which is present in the smoke, it will inhibit the activity of alpha-1 antitrypsin, and this alpha-1 antitrypsin is released from our liver and it goes into the blood and then finally move toward the lungs. This alpha-1 antitrypsin is known as antiprotease. Okay, so this is known as antiprotease. So whenever the proteases do the destruction of elastin, this antiproteases balance this process. Okay, so in our body the protease and antiprotease remain in the balanced condition, but due to the oxidant particles which are coming from the smoke, they will inhibit the secretion of alpha-1 antitrypsin or antiprotease. Now there will be severe imbalance between the protease and antiprotease in our body. So protease will increase and antiprotease will decrease due to the oxidant particle of the smoke. So there will be imbalance in our body, and finally the protease amount will increase, and this protease will do the alveolar wall destruction again, which will leads to the emphysema condition. So this was the pathophysiology of emphysema. So next we have clinical manifestation of emphysema. So what are the signs and symptoms that we will notice in the emphysema patient? So here I have divided signs and symptoms into two categories. First we have minor symptom, then we will go through the major symptoms. As this disease progress in a very slow way. Okay, first it will come into the minor condition, then it will go into moderate condition, then at last it will go into the very severe and worse condition. Therefore, first we will study the minor symptoms of emphysema. So first symptom, that is mild cough. The patient will suffer from the less coughing process. He will have cough, but it will be in the mild form, in the less form. Next we have dyspnea. Here dyspnea means the patient will feel breathing difficulty. Okay, but in minor symptom the breathing difficulty will come only when the patient will do some physical activity, like if he is running or he is moving forward in the upstairs direction, or if the patient is doing very hard physical activity, then only the patient will go through the breathing difficulty process, that is known as dyspnea condition. Okay, if the patient is in resting position, he is in the sitting position or lying down position, then he will not have any symptoms of dyspnea condition in the early phase. Next we have wheezing. Wheezing means the whistling sound which will come out through the lungs of patient while he will exhale the CO2 out. In the starting phase of this disease, the whistling sound will be in the low pitched intensity. Okay, so the patient will have some whistling sound from the chest while he will exhale the CO2 out. Okay, and that whistling sound will be in the very low pitched or low voice. Next we have decreased exercise tolerance. Here the patient will suffer from exercise tolerance. He will not able to perform any hard physical activity. Next we have coughing of clear sputum. In the starting phase, the patient will spit up the sputum in the clear form. The mucus which is coming out through the mouth of the patient, it will be in the clear form. It will be not in the thick form like the phlegm. So in the starting phase, the sputum will be clear. Next we have morning cough. Here in the minor symptom, the patient will suffer from the coughing process only in the morning time or while he is doing any hard physical activity. Now let's move toward the major symptom. So first we have increased shortness of breath, dyspnea. Here the patient is also going through the dyspnea process, breathing difficulty process. But the condition is that if the patient is lying down or he is in a sitting position, means while the patient is having some rest, then also the patient will go through the breathing difficulty process even in the resting position also. Next we have chronic cough with mucus. Now the cough will go through in a chronic form. There will be continuous coughing process will be seen in the patient, and that chronic cough will come out with the mucus, with the phlegm or bulgum. Next we have wheezing. The same whistling sound will come out through the chest of patient. If the physician will auscultate the lungs or chest of the patient, then a whistling, crackling and some ronky sound will come out through the chest of the patient. And this whistling sound will be in the high intensity, okay, will be in the high volume. Next we have increased respiratory rate. Because due to the hypoxemia condition, our blood is not able to get proper amount of oxygen and patient is feeling gasping for the air or oxygen, then the patient will do the respiratory rate in the fast way, okay. The patient will try to compensate that hypoxemia condition in the blood, so he will respirate in a very fast, in a very high rate, that is known as tachypnea. The normal respiratory rate is from 18 to 20 breath per minute, but here the patient is gasping or he is feeling low of oxygen. That's why he will do respiratory process in a very fast way, okay. Next we have barrel chest. The chest of patient will be seen in the barrel form. So what is barrel? Barrel is a wooden container in the earlier history days in which we used to collect the water. So the shape of the chest will come in the form of barrel. The anterior and posterior diameter of the chest will increase. Why the anterior and posterior diameter of chest is increased? Because due to the air trapping in the alveoli, okay. When all the alveoli will fuse together and they will form a very large air spaces, that is known as bullae, okay. Due to the formation of several bullae, the lung size and volume will increase. Therefore, the anterior posterior diameter of the chest will also increase and chest will appear in the form of barrel, okay. Next we have use of accessory muscles. As the patient is gasping or patient is feeling less oxygen in his blood, so he will try to breathe in a very hard way, in a very bad condition, okay. So he will use all the accessory muscles for the respiratory process. He will use his neck, his shoulder, his chest and even his abdominal muscles for the respiration process. Now the patient will go some fatigue condition. Why? Because he is using all his body muscles for inhaling, for breathing. Therefore, he will get fatigue or he will tired in a very quick way, okay. So he will frequently feel tiredness, heaviness in his chest and he will feel very fatigued or pathetic here. Next we have weight loss. Due to the use of accessory muscles and coughing process while he is eating the food, the patient will not able to eat the food properly. He will feel anorexia condition also, okay. Anorexia means the condition or disease in which the patient eat less. Why? Because the patient having the cough process, the patient lungs are very tight, his chest is very tight, he is using all his accessory muscles, he is already very tired. Therefore, he will not able to eat in a proper way and the patient will suffer from very severe weight loss process in the major symptom. Next we have choking sensation. Choking means patient will feel that something have obstructed in his throat, okay, in his airway. So here the patient is feeling the obstruction in the airway. Why? Because the gases are not able to pass throughly with the bronchi, bronchioles. Because this bronchi, bronchioles are also get inflamed or irritated due to the smoking. Okay. Next we have cyanosis. Cyanosis means bluish discoloration of finger, toes and lips of patient. Okay. So this cyanosis will come in the patient when the patient will suffer from the emphysema condition as well as from the chronic bronchitis condition also. Okay. So if the patient is suffering from the emphysema, then it's obvious that he will also suffer from the chronic bronchitis condition, because that same smoke which the patient is doing for a long period of time, that same smoke will pass through the trachea, bronchi, bronchioles and even the smaller bronchioles also, and then it will go into the alveoli and cause emphysema condition, and that smoke will also damage our bronchi and bronchioles. So with the emphysema condition, the patient will also suffer from the chronic bronchitis, and the symptoms you will notice that there will be bluish discoloration of finger, toes and lips of patient. At last the patient will suffer from heart failure, because the lungs are not able to do proper oxygenation of the blood, and that whole blood which is going in the lungs from the right ventricle, it will move forward into backward direction, and the patient will suffer from the heart failure condition. Okay. And at the last, when the patient will suffer from the heart failure condition, then the symptoms that we notice in the heart failure patient, that is known as edema symptoms, swelling symptoms. So we will see some ankle swelling or body swelling like hands, feet, okay, and neck of patient. So at the last, the patient will suffer from the heart failure condition. So these were the clinical manifestation of emphysema. Next we have diagnostic evaluation of emphysema. So what are the diagnostic procedure that we will perform in the emphysema patient? First we have health history and physical examination. In health or medical history, we will check for the subjective data of the patient. In this medical history, we will collect the past and present complete history of the patient. Okay. The physician can ask several questions to the patient like, does he have any bad habit of smoking or tobacco, or is anyone in his family suffering from any liver or lung diseases, or does he have any surgery in the past or present. So here we will collect the subjective data of the patient. In physical examination, we can observe the patient from the head to the toe, and several examination like inspection, palpitation, auscultation we can check here, and we can also auscultate the lung sound here through the stethoscope. Is any whistling or crackling sound is coming from the patient lungs. Okay. So here we can also check for the what are the signs that we are observing in the patient, like any dyspnea condition, any fatigue condition, any weight loss condition. So here we will collect the subjective data, and in physical examination we will collect the objective data of the patient. Next we have chest X-ray. So this chest X-ray is performed in the worst condition of the emphysema. It does not give good result in the mild or in the moderate condition. So in chest X-ray we can see the enlargement of the lungs, or there is flattened diaphragm. Next we have CT scan or MRI scan. Okay. So CT means computerized tomography scan, MRI means magnetic resonance imaging. So these are highly resonating techniques which will give the clear cut images of the lungs and the bronchi, bronchioles and the tube also. Okay. So these are the clear and three-dimensional images of the lungs. Next we have pulse oximeter. So it is a non-invasive test in which a probe is inserted into the patient finger, and through that probe we can check for the partial pressure of oxygen or saturation of oxygen in the blood. So it is a non-invasive procedure. Next we have sputum examination. If the patient is getting the mucus or any type of phlegm during coughing, then we will go for sputum examination for checking out any pathogen or microorganism in his sputum. Next we have ABG analysis. ABG means arterial blood gas analysis. It is most important test during the lungs. Okay. So here we will check the partial pressure of oxygen, which should remain normal at the range of partial pressure of oxygen is 75 to 100 mmHg is the normal range. Okay, and we will also check the partial pressure of carbon dioxide, that is 35 to 45 mmHg, and the partial pressure of if the partial pressure will go below 75, it means the patient is suffering from dyspnea or shortness condition, shortness of breath. And we will also check the pH and bicarbonate level of the blood. So the pH of blood should remain in the range of 7.35 to 7.45. Okay, so we can check the partial pressure of carbon dioxide. Is there any hypercapnia condition is not generating in the patient blood? So this test is taken from the radial and femoral artery of the patient. Next we have alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency. This test mainly performed in the younger patient and the patient who have genetic history of alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency. The normal range of alpha-1 antitrypsin is 75 to 100 mg per dl. Next we have blood test. So blood test is performed for checking the level of alpha-1 antitrypsin as well as the amount of our WBC. Okay, so whenever any foreign particle attack in our body in the lungs, then our WBC amount get increased. So we will check the blood test for the immune cells, for WBCs, for lymphocytes, and for alpha-1 antitrypsin level also, and is there any pathogen or microorganism is not present in the blood. Next we have pulmonary function test. So in PFT, pulmonary function test or lung function test, there are two types of tests. First is spirometry. So in spirometry, the patient will inhale first and then he will exhale out through a tube. Okay, so in this spirometry we will check out the patient inhaling and exhaling power. Okay, and in lung volume we will check the various gases in the lungs. Okay, how much the patient is inhaling and how much he is exhaling and how much residual volume of air is left in the lungs. Okay, so this is called as pulmonary function test or lung function test. Next we have 6-minute walk test. In this test we will check the exercise tolerance power of the lungs. If patient is able to tolerate some exercise. Okay, so this was a diagnostic evaluation of emphysema.